Hello and welcome to today's video on using SSH and a client-side SSH config. Let's get started. The SSH command has many options available. Type the command SSH space -v space -p space 2222 space -C space -l space Oracle space OL8-SSH. In this example, -v prints debug information for troubleshooting. When used multiple times as in -vvv, SSH debug output will provide more verbose information. -p provides the remote SSH server port. If your remote SSH server uses the default port of 22, then including this is optional. -C enables compression to help with the speed of communication on slower connections. -l sets the username for authentication on the SSH server. Lastly, OL8-SSH is the hostname or IP address of your SSH server. SSH allows passing the username combined with the hostname separated by the @ symbol rather than using the -l option, as in SSH space Oracle at OL8-SSH, or you can omit the username entirely. If you omit the username, SSH will then use your local username as indicated by the command who am I. Now that I've gone over some of the basics, we can cover the SSH config. The SSH config is a client-side configuration file that can save administrators lots of typing. It provides a way to save a list of SSH connections and the options used with those connections. SSH will first pull options from the command line, but then from the user's configuration file. The default file location for this configuration is in ~.sh/config, where tilde is shorthand for your user's home directory. The config file, in its basic form, consists of multiple host definition sections. Each host section matches a single or multiple host and specifies connection details. Running cat against my user's SSH config, we can review an example. Host space OL8-SSH sets the host name to be used at the SSH command prompt when making an SSH connection. This name can be the real or a fictitious name, or a name pattern using an asterisk as a wild character. Each option for a host is indented. Hostname space 127.0.0.1 sets the real IP address or fully qualified hostname of the SSH server. User space Oracle sets the username used to authenticate. Port space 2222 sets the SSH server port. Lastly, identity file space ~.sh/ID_RSA.pub provides the custom identity file or private key if you are using key-based authentication. When multiple host entries exist, SSH will use the first entry in the config file that matches the hostname provided on the command line. Since the SSH command uses the first host entry in the config file that matches, users should list entries with more specific options at the top. Create comments in the config file by adding a hash character at the beginning of a line. There are many more features of the SSH config file. Additional details on the SSH config can be found in the man page using man space SSH_config. Besides just connecting to a remote server, SSH also offers multiple ways to copy files securely between systems. The examples in this section do not pass the SSH port or SSH username because we have defined them already in the SSH config host definition. The first tool we're going to cover is Secure Copy, or SCP. SCP, as its name implies, copies files between hosts on the network. The copy action can occur between the local client and a remote host, or even between two remote hosts. For example, type the command scp space myfile1.png space OL8-SSH :/temp/myfile2.png. When using SCP, you can specify the port option using the uppercase -P. This option is set differently from SSH, which uses a lowercase -p for specifying the port. This option is a common typo when issuing the SCP command, so do not worry if you make the same mistake from time to time. SCP in this case copies the local file myfile1.png from your client system to the remote server, puts it in the /temp directory, and renames it myfile2.png. We can verify the success of this action using another feature of SSH. Use the standard SSH command for connecting to a server and add a Linux command at the end. Type SSH space OL8-SSH space LS space -L space /temp/star.png. SSH will show the file listing on the remote server. The other tool we're going to cover is Secure FTP or SFTP. Using SFTP will be familiar to those who have used standard FTP in the past. Connect to the remote server using SFTP space OL8-SSH. Like SSH and SCP, the SFTP tool also has an option you can pass on the command line to specify a non-default SSH port. Use the option -O port equals 2222, where 2222 is the remote SSH port number. Upon establishing a connection, you can use ls, get, and put commands to list, download, and upload files. To get a list of commands you can execute with SFTP, type help at the SFTP prompt. To exit the SFTP session, type bye at the prompt. That completes our demo and covers the basics of SSH. Have fun, and thank you for watching this video.